Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. It's the blockchain spell made of David's got so much.
Hello, GM, and welcome to the second episode of Season 2 of the Blockchain Experience. I'm your host, MetaDavid. The guest we have today is Sandy Carter, the Chief Operating Officer from Unstoppable Domains. They're a super easy-to-use platform that allows you to claim your digital identity like metadavid.nft, and it's yours forever. No recurring fees. Sandy comes on to talk about Unstoppable Domains, their unique selling propositions, and there's quite a few of them. And she also talks about a limited promotion they have going on that you don't want to miss. And after we talk to Sandy, we'll do shout outs to everyone who minted the last episode of the podcast on Nifty Gateway. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain that at the end. Now, one more thing before we go to our sponsors is that during the interview, the audio didn't come out as crisp as we wanted it to because we didn't use the usual platform that we wanted to. So hopefully it came out okay for you guys. Anyways, enough of the housekeeping. Let's get to our sponsors and then the interview with Sandy Carter from Unstoppable Domains. Ledger is the smartest way to secure crypto holdings. Their hardware wallets are trusted by over 4 million customers. Ledger can be used to secure, store, and manage over 1,800 crypto assets. Using the Ledger Live app, you will have a one-stop shop for your crypto needs. Buy, sell, exchange, and grow your assets with Ledger's partners securely and easily. Stop getting your wallet drained. Head over to ledger.metadavideth.com and take self-custody today. Have you ever wanted to display your NFT art in the physical world? Look no further than Token Frame. Token Frame's patent high-quality physical displays start at 10 inches and run all the way up to 55 inches. They're truly built for authenticity. Just sign in with your wallet, connect to Wi-Fi, and cast your NFTs. It's really that simple. And best of all, no subscriptions. Token Frame supports Ethereum, Polygon, and Solana with Tezos on the way soon. It's no wonder they're trusted by OpenSea, SuperRare, Nifty Gateway, and more. Start flexing your NFT art by visiting tokenframe.metadavideth.com. Again, that's tokenframe.metadavideth.com. Sandy Carter, how are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much for having me on your show, MetaDavid.
Thanks for making the time. So, Sandy, you're here from a very well-known brand in the Web3 space, and that brand is Unstoppable Domains. Now, before we dive into Unstoppable Domains, let's talk about you because I think you've got a really remarkable background and you're such an inspiring person in this space. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I've been at Unstoppable now for about a year and a half. I am the COO or Chief Operating Officer for Unstoppable. And Unstoppable, if you don't know, is a digital identity platform. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. But before I came to Unstoppable, I was with Amazon Web Services. In fact, I just met those guys here. I'm at ECC right now. I just met those guys here this week. And Amazon is a great company. So I learned so much from Amazon. I was actually hired in to start their enterprise division. And then I moved into an area to help grow our international growth and our regulated industry. So with that regulated industry work, I started deep diving into some really new emerging tech like blockchain. I saw financial services companies and hospitals use it for supply chain and just so many use cases. And so I started diving deep or going down the rabbit hole on that. And then in the education space and also hospitals, a lot of use of spatial computing and AR and VR for training. So that kind of leads you into the metaverse. And so I was really doing a lot of side projects in those areas because I got so interested in it. And then, of course, Matt, our co-founder and CEO, came up to Seattle, took me to dinner, and had a great conversation about Web3 digital identity. And so rest is history. I moved from Amazon Web Services over to Unstoppable. I've been focused a lot on, if you think about it, I've been focused a lot on emerging tech. At previous companies, I focused on artificial intelligence and IoT. And then at Amazon, IoT, AI, and then blockchain and some of these other folks as well. So it's really been an exciting journey. You can say I'm, I guess, a geek girl because I love all the tech that's going on out there in the world.
Yeah, listening to you describe your path there, it seems like you're always on just like that emerging technology. And that seems to be very bullish, I think, with you being on that emerging technology, transitioning into like the Web3 space, which seems like you're kind of dabbling a little bit in Amazon anyways. But I think that co-signing and endorsing that is a win for us. So thank you for doing that. So you touched on Unstoppable Domains. So for our listeners that might not be familiar, what is it?
So Unstoppable Domains is a digital identity platform, which means that your identity is based on blockchain and therefore it travels with you everywhere that you go, all throughout the internet. So unlike Web 2, where, you sign in with your username and password, and that username and password really isn't yours. And of course, all the data definitely is not yours. We had a big panel on that today about how Meta and Google and others really leverage and use all that data and the real power of ownership in Web3. In the Web3 space, you do own your data and you do own your digital identity. So let's take sandy.polygon, for example, which is an unstoppable domain, which serves as my digital identity. I can use that to access over 870 applications, 170 wallets, which that resolves into, which means it takes my sandy.nft and it converts it to a long stream of letters and numbers, so I don't have to remember it. And today we have so many applications that we are integrated with that it gives it a lot of utility. And one of my favorite sayings is utility is greater than hype. So I think that is, a really powerful statement about, Unstoppable and the use cases today. So just one use case, that changing your name to your crypto address, we do 30 million of those resolutions every week, 30 million. And so that really translates into a lot of usage that we're seeing from our customer base as well.
So it seems like in Web 2, there's a centralized solution. And then in Web 3 with the domains and the digital identity, that is a Web 3 decentralized solution. Like, why is that so important?
So that decentralized solution is what gives you the power of ownership, like who owns that data. Because it's just decentralized, you're not having a single controller of that data. And so as it gets spread across the blockchain, that means that no one owns it except for you. You're the primary owner of that data, which is, so incredibly powerful.
So it seems like in let's say in the Web 2 world, if you have like a set of Meta login credentials, you can use it you could use it at Instagram, you could use it on Facebook, you could use it, I guess, on Threads now. But that's where like the buck stops, but you wouldn't be able to use it on Twitter, for example. Whereas in the Web3 world with like a digital identity, you can use it in like the 870 applications that you described. And it's a continuously growing ecosystem. I think, when I checked the website, it was like 860. So you guys probably activated like 10 more in quick succession there. So we'll talk a little bit about that more, in a little bit, but that seems to me to be such a fundamentally important thing that someone who is just starting out in Web3 should be doing, I think. Would you agree with that? Is just like nab your domain, nab your digital identity. There's only they're unique, so you can't share it with someone else, so to speak. And I think what you guys do at Unstoppable Domains is just make that process so frictionless, because I've been through that process with ETH, and you'll talk about that in a little bit, I'm sure. But it was not very easy and it wasn't very straightforward, even for someone like myself who is relatively like Web3 savvy. So what are some of the steps that you guys take to make that an easier process compared to some of the other platforms out there?
Yeah, we're really focused on working backwards from the customer. So one of the first things that we noticed is how hard it is to set up a wallet and to get money from an exchange, right? Shouldn't be hard, but it is. And therefore, we offer our customers the ability to leverage their credit card or PayPal to make a purchase. In addition, because typically you have to store your domain. so that you keep the ownership of it into a wallet. We also made it easier so that you can now place that into a vault. Now, that vault is an unstoppable vault, but you still own it. At any time when you get a wallet, you can immediately transfer that out to your wallet. So those are two of the things that we did to make it easier. And I would say the third thing is, with Unstoppable, you actually own your domain. And I can't tell you, we've had two amazing events yesterday. We had over 500 different partners and customers that came to those events. Over and over again, people kept saying, it's so awesome that we don't have to renew, or we don't have to put a date on the calendar and remember when to rebuy it. If it's our digital identity, we want to own it. We don't want anybody else owning it. We don't want to rent it. We want to own it. And so that's another thing I think that makes it really easy for customers to participate in that unstoppable domain ecosystem as well.
Yeah. And I think what is also really cool is that the way that you guys have implemented and executed it is it's very easy to grab them for others like parents or other folks that maybe are not quite Web3 ready yet, but that this technology is coming, and giving them out as gifts and helping onboard them, right?
That's right. In fact, we had our youngest to ever get a domain. It was from some royalty in the Middle East, and they purchased it for their baby. I think he was 10 days old, their son. They wanted him to make sure he had his Web3 identity because they knew that when he grew up, that name would be gone. So they grabbed it right away.
That's so clever. That's so smart and, forward looking. So one thing I really want to highlight is something that you touched on, is the fact that when you go to Unstoppable Domains, and this is really important, is that it's just like a one-time fee and that's it. You own it forever. I know that when I grabbed my ETH domain, first of all, like I said, it was a pretty friction-filled process. And then on top of that, it was just like, oh, I have to renew this. And then I had to set up all these other like notifications and hope that like my email, like I'll check my emails in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever, that I'll be getting those notifications. So I can really appreciate the fact that you guys have made it so that when you grab those domains, they're yours forever. Now, I know that you guys just recently had a big announcement and now you do support ETH. Right. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, Sandy?
Yeah, we were really excited to add support to our website for buying and managing .eth. And we felt that this was really important. First of all, working backwards from our customers like to do like that clean sweep. When they go in there and they want their domain, they want their digital identity, they want sandy.crypto, sandy.nft, sandy.eth. And, what they had to do before is go to two separate websites to do that. So this really brings into the party, if you would, one-stop shopping, which makes it much easier to really own that digital brand, both for people like myself, but as well for companies too. And David, you may or may not know that 11% of Fortune 100 companies already have and own their unstoppable digital identity today. So this just increases what they have access to and really makes it easier for them. But we didn't stop at just that. We also decided to address some of the other interesting challenges that customers had. We knew we wanted to open up the base for many customers, not just Web3 savvy customers. So we also added that credit card or PayPal support so you can purchase it without crypto. We also took our vault technology and we allowed .eth users now to store it in a vault, so you don't have to have a wallet. And then finally, that auto renewal, we also now execute on auto renewals. So you could go in and based on you as a user, you can decide how long you want to do that auto renewal. And then that bill automatically bills to you through Stripe as well. So we're really excited. We had great response here in Paris, both from partners talking about the inclusion that we brought now to the Web3 space, which they thought was really powerful. Also from users, just adding in that ease of use, especially one of our events, we had 7 Web2 companies there. And after we made the announcement, they came up to me and they said, we have our .nft, we have our .crypto. We did not get personally a .eth because we don't have a crypto wallet. Now we're going to go and buy that .eth because now we can purchase it through a credit card as well. So the response was really positive, both from partners who, really this only benefits them through the industry, as well as users with all this ease of use benefit as well, with that one-stop shop for .eth, as well as all the other unstoppable domains.
So I'm also going to assume that when you say one-stop shop, it's also like one-stop click, so to speak, because I remember when I got my .eth, it was like multiple clicks and different things that I had to do. Like, I think first you have to grab it, and it's only that grabbing it you don't really actually take custody of it, and it's only good for like a week or 24 hours or something. I can't remember. It's been a while. And then there's like a second step. And along the way, when you're doing it the first time, you're not even quite sure if you're doing it exactly right. I'm assuming with your execution implementation, it's just like one click, you're grabbing it. There's an auto renewal process in place, but it's not like you have to confirm like 3 different transactions or anything like that, right?
That's right. You do have to buy each .eth one at a time, at least for right now. But yes, you can go through and it's just as easy as buying, I think, an unstoppable domain, that you're going to acquire as well. So, you should give it a try. Maybe go out there and purchase another one, right? And see what you think. But all the feedback that I got here in Paris was extremely positive. And, in fact, really, a lot of energy and a lot of excitement around this as well.
Okay. I think I might just give it a go. I've got my, Polygon and NFT in my whole, I did the whole, one suite.
Awesome.
But I haven't gotten my ETH from you guys yet, but I'll probably try that out after this interview. So, very cool. So, you spoke about, 11% of the Fortune 500 companies have it, which is,
I'm sorry, 11% of the Fortune 100 companies.
I'm sorry, Fortune 100 companies. All right. So, so that speaks, I think, to like mass adoption, right, of Web3 domains. Now, I don't have any statistics behind this because it could be because of the bias of the circle that I'm in. But I feel like a good number of people in this space already have a domain. But I also feel like, and this kind of reaffirms it, like 89% don't in Fortune 100 companies, right? So what do you think are like some of the things that need to be done to just gain that mass adoption for more major brands to grab that Web3 domain? Like, what's the missing piece of the puzzle there?
I think there's a couple. One, I think, is, education. And it is one of the things that we really work on with our partners too, because a lot of our user growth comes through our partners. So let's take, blockchain.com, one of our amazing partners. They did such a great job when they introduced .blockchain to really educate their users on what is a domain, what is your digital identity, why do you want it, why do you want to grab it now? And you see that in the results, over 220,000 .blockchain domains when they do that education. So I think education is one. I think the second is showcasing utility. And we just also, David, we just also announced a unstoppable marketplace. And I'm already getting really great feedback on it here. We did a demo of it at one of our events yesterday. And we even had users of a domain who's already purchased them say, wow, now I can see all this potential. Like I can see I could use it with this tax application. I could use it with this metaverse. I can use it with this game. I have 170 wallet choices. I had picked one wallet because I didn't know you had all 170 choices that were out there. And so I do think, helping people understand now what do I do next is also really important. And that really leads me to the third thing I think we need to do. We need a couple of what I call killer use cases, right? I mean, if you think about AI, I actually worked on IBM Watson 7 years ago. People think AI is like new on the scene, but 7 years ago, I was working on IBM Watson. And so, a lot of technologies don't get adopted overnight, but what caused AI to get a lot of publicity overnight was ChatGPT, something that people wanted to use on a daily basis. And I think today we have a lot of applications that are out there, some of which substitute for a Web 2 application. I do think there are some killer apps that are out there right now waiting to get more mass adoption. I think loyalty is one of those. We see it right now with Starbucks. We see it with Nike, where they have adopted Web3, but not for Web3, but because the technology adds value to what they were doing before in their loyalty programs. It helps to reduce the cost of the program. Helps to make it very targeted. Like I know if Sandy bought a coffee because now it sits on chain. So I know it was her and not her husband, not her daughter. I know who bought that coffee. And therefore I can more accurately reward as well. And plus, as some of them have said before, it makes it a lot more fun when you have everything digitally in your ID as well. So I do think there are a couple of killer apps out there. Another one that I love is, one we just wrote about, which is using a digital identity to identify a deep fake. I just got asked to go and present at an AI conference. And the main thing we talked about was how, because you have data on chain, you can identify if something's been altered or modified. You can also do like you do a wallet sign signature today. Yep, that's me. You could do that with a domain to do a social verification that what I just posted was really me. And this is a real fear. If you look at CIOs at this conference I went to, there were 500. The number one challenge that they see with AI are all of these deep fakes, whether it's voice or video or a picture. They're really worried that someone's going to replicate their CEO or create a fake disaster before they figure it out. They're looking for a way to do that. So I think that's another killer use case. I think that is really going to accelerate the use of blockchain in Web2 companies because of that big problem that's coming. So those are just a couple of ideas that I have about, why this has not taken off right now into the mainstream, but I think really has potential to do so over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the timing is so perfect in the sense that the proliferation of AI is happening very quickly, and so is the proliferation of the blockchain, and they're intersecting. And I think that, to your point there, the blockchain can actually solve some problems there because, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, it could be immutable. So that way, you can use that validation to make sure that that particular person is actually that particular person and it's not a deep fake. And to your point earlier, when you were talking about customer centric in the sense of like looking at, what are some of the problems here today? And I think that's kind of the right approach, is that we are looking at it not like it's like we're looking to chase problems and we should be doing it the other way. And I think when you look at it through that lens, and yeah, absolutely, things like loyalty programs, anything where provenance is required, I think is just like a very good use case. I remember, I don't know if they've actually executed this yet, but in California, they're going to start using like Tezos for vehicle registrations, which is like, like that is actually something
great one.
Something that makes sense. And then when I think about when I purchased my house, how much money I had to spend in closing costs to validate my deed. And it's like, with the blockchain, you really don't need to spend that kind of money. Now, I'm sure there's lobby groups out there that want to make sure that that industry still exists. But yeah, there's just so many different things that the blockchain can do that are so powerful that, we're just touching the surface area here. So absolutely, I see where some of those synergies and some of those use cases can absolutely exist. So talking about AI, I saw on the marketplace, which, by the way, you guys have 870 integrations, which is just like jaw dropping because of my day job. That's actually what I work on, is partnerships and integrations. And I'd love to say we'd be able to get to that number one day. So hats off to whoever's running your business development department there, because they are a rock star. But I saw that there is an AI component in that marketplace also. Can you speak a little bit about that? Seemed really interesting.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to do with the marketplace is to have featured applications. So it's no secret that I worked for AWS. And one of the things I think we did really well there is we built a marketplace that really became the hub for how users found applications. And one of those keys was to feature different applications based on certain trends or certain requests coming in from customers. So one of the requests I get all the time, as leading BD is, tell me who's using AI, like who's doing this in production. And so I started doing some research and started talking to all of our partners. And I found some really cool ones who do that. So for this month, we're going to feature our AI kind of focused applications, which is, I think, super cool. So, I mean, you can go out there and see what blockchain is doing. They've got some really cool stuff. A Brave, the summarizer is pretty amazing. I mean, there are some really cool use cases of AI and Web3. I also wanted to do it, Meta David, because, you know, so many people say, and I heard it today at ECC, oh man, AI has stolen our thunder, you know, oh, now it's all about AI. And I keep telling people, you know, AI is like a partner for us in business. And I think it's going to accelerate that blockchain adoption. So, you know, don't throw it aside and try to downgrade it. Like, let's embrace it. And so I also wanted to showcase these companies who have embraced it to make their offering better, a better user experience, so that, you know, you could really leverage it to make what we're doing in Web3 more powerful. So I'm real excited that we, you know, that we highlighted all those companies and they're doing some amazing things. And who knows, next month I'll listen to our customers and we'll decide something else that we'll want to feature as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that, like, in isolation, yes, AI could pose a threat to a lot of things, but I think blockchain is where we can embrace it and have we can have the blockchain AI kind of have them live harmoniously together, and we live harmoniously with that. So I'm a big proponent. I've talked about a lot on the podcast, dating back to actually last year, where I actually think that the blockchain can solve a lot of problems when it comes to those quote unquote threats that AI poses. And, you know, we can talk about that forever. I know that we're short on time here. So before we leave, I know that you want the call of action to be for people to go out and check out Unstoppable Domains. I do know that you have a promotion also. And what is that promotion?
Yeah. So on the marketplace, we partnered with Polygon. Polygon actually incubated the DApp store kit that we built upon our marketplace. And so as a result, we're doing a 30% discount. If you go into the marketplace itself, which is super easy, it's unstoppablemarketplace.com. You'll see the link there. You have to go through that link and you get 30% off, not only your Polygon, but we're hoping you do a clean sweep and you can get that 30% off for all the domains that you purchase and buy as well. And we wanted to do that, you know, to say a big thank you to Polygon for all the great work that they helped us with on that marketplace as well.
So yeah, folks, so go to Unstoppable Domains, definitely take advantage of that promotion. But Sandy's point, this is what I did, is just do that clean sweep. The prices are extremely reasonable. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to shill something to you. I'm not getting, you know, any affiliate reimbursements here or anything. It's just that I'm passionately a genuine believer in what Unstoppable Domains is doing. So definitely I would recommend doing that clean sweep. Prices are reasonable and it's just a one-time fee. It's not a recurring fee, which makes it an even sweeter deal. So before you leave, Sandy, going back to the first thing that we talked about earlier, and this is how I always like to end, all our discussions, is that you've had a really successful career. It seems like everything that you've touched turns into gold. What's one piece of career advice that you could give our listeners, or maybe a motto that you live by? You know, we want that Unstoppable Domains and Sandy Carter alpha from you.
Oh, let's see. Well, I think I have two, if that's okay.
That two is fine.
Okay, good. I think one would be, you know, to make sure you're asking a lot of questions. It's one thing that I learned at Amazon, which was to learn and be curious. There are so many examples where if you're only asking a couple of questions, you're going to get to a satisfactory answer, but you're not going to get to that blow away, bar raising answer by not continually questioning. So that would be the first one that I would say. And don't just ask questions like, what's going to change in the next 5 years? One of my favorite Jeff Bezos questions that he always asked is, what's not going to change in the next 5 years? And so as we were looking at investments and bets, we would say, okay, here's what we think is going to change. Here's what's not going to change. So we don't want to starve those things that are not going to change. And I think that's really served me well and my teams well, you know, as we move forward. And then the second thing I always tell everyone, but in particular, you know, my women of Web3, AI, and blockchain, is take risks, like go out there and take more risks. I actually wish, Metadata, that I had taken more risks early on in my career. I think I've taken several big risks, but I think I could have done more. And I think that, life is more exciting and you can do more, you can accomplish more if you're not afraid to take that risk. Another thing that I learned at AWS about taking risks is that that's how you learn, right? When you fail, you learn. I still remember one of my, I would say, least favorite meetings, but it turned out to be my favorite, was when I was asked by our CTO to come in and share an experience that I had done in my first 9 months of AWS where I had made a mistake. And I have to tell you, I tried so hard to get him to make it my best practices, all my cool things. And it was like, no, you're going to do your biggest mistake. And so I was so reluctant to do that. I actually didn't want to come to the meeting. I was trying to get sick on that day. I ended up going. It was really hard. And in my career, no one had ever asked me to present my biggest mistakes and what I had learned. And so I did it. And I would have to say that it's one of the most memorable presentations that I did at AWS. Why? Because, I learned and was able to pivot quickly, but I must have had 6 or 7 executives come up to me afterwards saying, by you sharing that, I avoided this, or by you sharing it, I avoided that. And so it was such an aha moment to say, you've got to take risks. You're not always going to be successful. So learn and share those learnings so others learn as well, learn with you. So that would be my big 2.
Yeah, it's only a failure if you don't learn from it. So I couldn't agree more with you.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And then when what Jeff Bezos said to you was interesting, would say to everyone there at Amazon, it's kind of interesting, harkens back to business school, that whole exploit versus explore. And kind of putting it in those terms. So that's also very interesting. So great alpha for our listeners there. I love it. I know that I always try to tell my 4-year-old to be curious, and I'm already telling her about the 5 whys. And I don't know, that's also working against me too, because she's using it against me too. And, getting to the root cause of some of these questions. So, very cool. Sandy, thank you so, so much for stopping by. I know that you're traveling there and making the time for us here. So I appreciate all the knowledge that you dropped on us from your successful career, everything about, we should know about unstoppable domains. You guys are doing amazing things. And I love the way that you guys are just iterating and looking for more opportunities to just, bring that Web3 world into the Web2 world for the normies, if you want to call them that. So you're always welcome guests on the show. Appreciate having you.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for, responding. You guys probably don't know, but I reached out and I DM'd Metadata because Metadavid, because I saw one of his podcasts and I'm like, I want to be on that show. I want to talk about what we're doing. And I mean, instantly he got back to me, got his book, got me on the show. I really appreciate that. Your responsiveness and your care for your customers was really well felt. So thank you so much for doing that.
Sandy was an awesome guest. It's really a privilege to have someone of her talent and experience on the pod. And she's been just doing an amazing job along with the rest of the team at Unstoppable Domains and making them one of the most recognized and trusted brands in this space. So let's get to the shout outs. Now, first, what are the shout outs? What we've done is made each episode of the podcast available to claim on Nifty Gateway for just like $1, and that's on Ethereum and does include gas. So for this particular episode, the window starts on Wednesday, July 26th, and it runs through Sunday, July 30th. So why would you want to mint? Well, one cool perk is hearing your name on the next episode of the pod, which is memorialized forever. It also, as a podcaster, gives me more direct line of sight into who our listeners and supporters are so I can reward for loyalty. And we've done like a whole bunch of cool things like giving out early inscriptions on ordinals, free airdrops. We even took over a billboard in Times Square and used that to recognize our full set holders last season. Lastly, it's just a collectible that stands on its own that signifies that, quote unquote, you were there. Just the same way that if you had a ticket from the first Beatles concert when they performed in Liverpool for the first time. So, again, it's just $1. It's on Nifty Gateway. They accept credit cards. So our goal here is just really to make it a super accessible, You can find the link in the show notes. Would really appreciate your support. So without further delay, let's get to it. Here are the folks who minted the last episode. Gary Med 888, Kaplui, who minted quite a few. Thank you so much for minting. Goldcoin admires good art. Emil MTO, full set holder dating back to last season. Urcon 75, Aslan D Art, CL7, a major supporter of the pod. Thank you so much for your mints. RJD, Danich, Sergo, Arts Design, which is also a major supporter of the POS with many mints. Thank you so much for minting. Appreciate you. H. Malves, JML2222, DVD Dan, another full set holder dating back to last year. Oscar Machinery, AK Denise, Sushi McKing. I think I'm saying that right. That's a cool name. Mercane 9874, Enable 92, CyberC, congratulations on minting out. Inceptionally, another full set season holder dating back to last year. SJS Inc., same thing, another full set season ticket, another full set holder dating back to last year. Griffin Cock Foster, some more full set season holders going back to last year. I see here. I see Deco Life. I see the Rev, also was also guest. Travi also guest. In fact, actually, Deco Life was a guest 2 seasons ago. So these were all guests. All you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for showing up and minting again. And we got a couple more, and that's RGC and Mr. Scott. So love you guys for minting. Thank you so much for supporting the show and the love that you've given to me and our guest, Gabe Weiss. And if you missed the mint and you're listening to this, I love you too. Just please hit the subscribe button. Give us a 5-star review to really help the show. Until next time, folks, take care.
Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. It's the blockchain spell made of David's got so much to tell. Bringing you the latest news without fail. Hey, decentralized and secure. It's been making way. You can't tamper with data. It's not the same old way. From finance to art, it's bringing all the trust. The blockchain experience, it's a must. Hey, welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. It's not just for the big boys, it's for everyone. It's a new way of doing things. It's second run. So jump on board, join the revolution. It's a blockchain experience. It's a movement. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up for the blockchain experience. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. It's a blockchain experience. It's a blockchain experience. It's a blockchain experience. Give it up, give it up, give it up for Major David. Give it up, give it up, give it up for Major David. Give it up, give it up, give it up for Major David. Give it up, give it up, give it up for Major David. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. Welcome to the blockchain experience. Bringing dope content to the audience. Welcome to the blockchain